Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Top Tech Communities Case Study Session. Please join me in welcoming this afternoon's sponsor, Joe Lautner, Vice President of Strategic Solutions from Core Brands.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon. This is a great event. We've been here 4 years. Every year it's fantastic to see the builders' excitement and motivation grow for technology. And what we're trying to do here at Nortech is help figure out how to maximize your investment in technology to help you sell more homes. So there's really three things that I'm going to share today from a pilot program we've run over this 2017. The key things that we've learned about here is that everything that you're trying to do with your homes is about the experience, and the new home personalization trend to attract more buyers and sell more homes starts with the experience. The connected home platform is a key part of that experience, and we'll show you a little bit about what we're doing to help builders like you maximize your investment in that. The second thing is, how do we bring to market these technologies? And most importantly is to make sure that you integrate it with the overall home personalization process. And the panel today is going to talk a lot about that. And then lastly, if you were at the session yesterday with Tim Costello in the roundtable, you really want to tell a story. And all of you in that breakout session came back with products. And you said, we want to put the video doorbell in, and we want to put an automated garage door and maybe a control platform. And what we're going to show you is a little bit about how we tell the experience and market the benefits of the technology in front of the products and what the value is to you. So at Nortech, we have a number of categories that we bring to the home. We're one of the largest security providers with over 3,000 homes protected. We are the largest Z-Wave device manufacturer. We have a leadership position in access and garage doors, and we have a great platform for health and wellness. You know, the PERS products, the Help I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up, and other assistive technologies for age-in-place communities with our Numera brand. And we bring it together with our Elan platform. And the Elan platform is a single app solution. We all talked about the value of single apps that brings together security, climate, lighting, audio, video, irrigation, et cetera, all the way through, all the categories in the house. It's very scalable. So we help to personalize a solution for your development and the market that you're trying to chase. So we've got a great scalable solution. So Nortech together not only brings the control platform, but it brings all the categories that can make a turnkey solution for you. And on top of that, the sell-through collateral to make sure you maximize the value in what you invest in to help you sell more homes. Because what we've learned over the last 11 months is that you guys want to sell more homes. And when we went to look at the new home buyers, their motivation to buy more homes is to make sure that they move into a home that's finished and personalized for them. And that's really the foundation of what we're trying to do here. So where does technology belong in that process? When we talked to builders over the last year, we had some builders talk about, look, you know, there's all this wireless technology out there. I don't need to put anything in my house. They can do everything after they move in. And I think yesterday we learned a few pros and cons to that approach. What we try to do is help you get that platform, and then the things that you put in the house connect to it, and that's where the real value is to the homeowner. You know, Tim Costello talked about that smart home. We can ground that today with features that'll help you sell the home and get you on that path to that truly assisted or smart environment that Tim talked about. The second thing is it part of the electrical mechanical part of the install? Is it a light switch? Is it a wall socket? Or when you market this, should it be part of helping someone enjoy their home, live with comfort, convenient peace of mind? And what we've learned is putting it into that lifestyle enhancing process is where the real opportunity is. And lastly, your homeowners want to move in and they want to start to entertain. They want to start to enjoy their house. They don't want to sit there and finish it. So I'll take you to the auto industry, something I had worked in my previous career. And every year I go to CES, I go to the car area because it's always been years ahead of the home. And it wasn't too long ago that you'd buy a car, you'd take it to a place to get the windows tinted, you'd add the car starter, the security system, and you get a nice stereo system. And car manufacturers said, hey, wait a minute. If people want this in a car, why don't I incorporate it, and then I'll have the things that will help them sell new cars. My father-in-law buys a new car because of the safety features that come in there. Keeps him in his lane, stops the car, if something runs out into it. And so you want to give your home buyers a reason to buy that new home. It's very similar to that car industry. They own bumper to bumper. You own foundation to roof. So you have that same opportunity to put that platform in the home that the things can connect to. And today, it's the video doorbell, it's the light switch, it's the thermostat. Tomorrow, it's going to be appliances. You heard Samsung yesterday, too. So those are the things that are coming, and so get prepared for it today. So you have all the elements you can put in the house, very scalable. You might have one thing, you might have three things. But if you don't have that platform, you've heard the one app solution. You'll end up with an app for lighting, an app for security, an app for thermostats versus one connected platform. And that's where you can tell stories that deliver value and provide that 1 + 1 = 3 solution. So home builders put the standards, and you guys put the standards and the options in there. And then when we look at the selling process, we found from feedback from the industry, the sales agents want to sell the house, and they don't always understand the technology. And they say, look, the standard house is fine. They should be, that's where the connected home story should start. When you get to the design center, they're now trying to sell the upgrades and options that maybe the salesperson said, you can buy the house as is. And the number one feedback from the buyer is, it doesn't look like the model. So our program tries to integrate the selling into that natural process. And if you do have technology offering, you want to make sure that the technology guy is brought to the table at the right time with the right incentives and motivation to help personalize and finish that home. So Synergy will help you sell more homes here. So now a little bit about our program. We're in booth 401. We invite you, we have meetings with many of you, but we invite you to come by, talk to us, and see how we might be able to help you. So our program starts with package standards and upgrades. And remember, we can provide all the pieces from the structured wiring, the networking, the control, light switches, thermostats, and we're also open. So if you have relationships with a HiVol thermostat or you prefer Nest, we are an open system and can integrate all those things. We have a comprehensive integrator network. We provide the sales and marketing support, training for your sales team and design centers, and it's all geared to keep you on schedule and help you tell a compelling story. So here's an example of an approach we took with a builder in LA, 87 townhomes, price about $479,000. So not a high-end house for LA. Standard package had your structured wire, it's our open house brand. It had networking and our control. It had a video doorbell, it had lighting, and it had climate. So the standard story that we taught the sales agents to lead with was, hey, with our home, you'll never come home to a dark home. And if someone rings your doorbell, you can talk to them, and it'll also turn the light on that front porch. And you can talk to that person from anywhere in the world. And our climate solution will make it easy for you to be comfortable and energy efficient. And by having that standard all connected with one app, that's how you can grow the system. And of course, we integrate voice, so we're very current with the voice platforms today. So you have the app, you have voice, and you can control the subsystems independently. So now we get into the upgrade process. The first package is the peace of mind. So you remember that standard has some bells and whistles. The peace of mind package now adds an ability to automatically open the garage door, a door lock to open, unlock, and lock the door, and a camera in the garage. So the story now goes, the sales agent will say, on top of your standard, this option now lets you talk to the person at the front door, unlock it to let them in, or open the garage door to drop a package, view them with the camera, and when you're done, close the garage door. They can do that because they have a platform. The next option, the safe and secure package, adds security. So now talk to that person. You want to let them in? Disarm security. Open the garage, verify they dropped the package, close the garage door, rearm, all from one app. In addition, if you have a fire in the house, we can turn on a light, and we can also shut off the HVAC because it's all connected to that platform and it all works together so you don't blow smoke around the house. Now, when you get into the entertainment options, for 25 years, Alana's delivered entertainment to the luxury market. We've been able to bring this down. And with a 4-room audio package, not only do you get to enjoy Pandora, et cetera, but your intercom from your door station or your security alerts will integrate with the speakers. And that's what you get when you have the platform. And of course, we have TV options, and we can go on from there. So on top of that, this is where the sell-through. So everything else what I'm talking about is the sell-it. How do we get you marketing a smart and connected home? Now, sell-through. We help you with the co-branded marketing collateral. Your pictures, your profile, and then the solutions that we personalize for your development will be easily explained to tell that 1 + 1 = 3. And this goes to the sales agent, it's in the design center, and it's integrated in your whole process. We have our field team that can help with the training. This helps get the salespeople excited. They'll use the system when they show up. And this is one session, Brett, who's with me today, got the sales team so excited, the manager put a contest in, whoever can sell the most systems gets one for their house. So we build that enthusiasm, and that helps maximize your investment in the program. So, let us help you deliver a great experience to your clients, your buyers. Let us help you offer this in a connected way that's integrated into the process of selling your home and the options and the upgrades. And let us help your team tell the story, because we want to help you sell more homes. So that concludes for me. We got a great panel. We're booth 401. Many of you have appointments with us. If not, come on by, and we'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Joe, thank you very much for a great presentation, and that really leads well into what we're going to be discussing here, because we have a very interesting look at Top Tech Community's case study here. We want to tell the story of the connected home here, and we have a great panel that we put together. So just to give you a look at what we will be talking about today, here's the session description. What does it take to create tech-forward communities where all homes have a strong technology baseline and most have taken tech to another level? How do you select the product assortment, develop the right sales and marketing materials and methods, find the right contractors for both initial installation and after-occupancy service and support? This session provides the real-world stories, including both the little and overall victories and the painful lessons learned along the way. If we go in the right direction, we'll get to the people who are actually speaking here. I'm Tony Consiglio. I'm with event producer AE Ventures, and these are our panelists. I'd like them to briefly introduce themselves and tell a little bit about how they're involved in this process.
Well, I'm Mike Moore. 38 years ago, I got into the options and design business and the flooring business. 25 years ago, opened my first training company and started teaching and training salespeople, designers, home builders, how to address this personalization process as a whole. And obviously, it's grown into the whole finished home design, which now includes all of the technology that we've been discussing. Also, started and co-founded and developed Studio Chateau, which won the design award at this one. We haven't been involved with them since 2009, so they're now owned by one of my clients. But so it's been a deep, long run of personalization, working with home builders and design centers.
Marshall.
Michael, that's a long time. I'm Marshall Pepperman, Marshall's Design, a home center in Southern California. And we've also been in business for 38 years this year. So a little extra, only on one side. And because we segued from the home furnishings industry, our focus was always on the sales and marketing side of the fashion part of surfaces. So when we moved into the new home business, construction business, we always brought that point of view with us and try to blend what the materials were with buyer desires and made sure that is what they wanted. That simple.
I'm Casey Ricks. I lead operations for M2 Real Estate Group, in which we have numerous brands. We have a production brand, custom brand. We have a development company all the way through general brokerage. So we're here today to talk about a production brand, Ashwood Fine Homes.
And I'm Brian Gilbert. I'm the marketing and sales director for Ashwood Fine Homes. And when we looked at our market, we really found a niche that we could really take advantage of by starting a lot of the things that have been mentioned here. Really in our area, Savannah, Georgia, I would say the whole area is late adopters. And so when we were doing our competitive market analysis, we realized that if we got ahead of this thing, we could really provide a unique experience for buyers and get a lot of ROI from it.
All right, well, thank you all for participating here. I think we have a great story to tell involving each of you. Mike, I think I'll start with you because you have been sort of instrumental in helping to bring technology into design centers, which is a bit of a different take, and you've connected Joe and his team with some design centers, including Marshall here. Have you gone about that process, and why is that so important?
Well, for the suppliers that are here, one of the things that I've learned in my beginnings as a vendor, as a subcontractor supplier, nobody actually wants what we make or sell. They want a finished home from their builder. And so early on for me, everything, even for my training, became how do we teach people to finish the home and not sell parts and pieces? Parts and pieces make it confusing. And then you add technology to that, it's even more confusing because it's a lot more little parts and pieces that we don't know even as well as the home finishes. So it was a natural thing for me as I was watching the technology and smart home develop especially on the HiVol production builder. And I'm a firm believer that nobody builds production homes anymore. They build personalized homes on a schedule, and they have to stay on schedule. So it was natural in my thinking that needs to come together. Whether the integrator works within the design studio or we get the design studios up to speed, it is a lifestyle experience, the selling process, and now for me it's moved even beyond lifestyle to how do we create a relationship with the home. If it's going to be a fully integrated home, Tim mentioned the Internet of Things, the thing was the home. Okay, we've all got a relationship with our iPhone, our Android phone, our smartphone. We need to be able to make a real relationship between the buyer and their home. How do they interact with it? So it was natural that came into the design center. So,
and Marshall, you hear Mike make this pitch, you meet, and what is going through your mind as a design center owner about taking tech to the next level and incorporating something like that into what traditionally it's not there?
He makes me realize that as an industry, the home center has a lot of work to do. Because to Michael's point, we do think of what we do in terms of bits and pieces as far as what we've been selling in the past. And I'm afraid to say when it comes to technology, instead of bringing together what Tim said last night in terms of the larger message, in terms of what Mike is saying about that we're ultimately serving the home buyer, not just selling them bits and pieces, we don't do that. And it's evidenced in the fact that if you look at almost every home center, they spend a whole lot more time talking to purchasing agents than they ever do sitting with the sales and marketing people or the VPs on concept, where it should be the other way around. So we have a lot of work to do as an industry to start seeing ourselves as a sales and marketing arm to assist this technology boom that is beginning, to understand it from the point of view of not just the builder, but from the buyer, to be even further working with the salespeople who actually deliver it, and to be there as a support with them, working hand in hand with the integrators.
And how hard of an adjustment is that to be able to go from not incorporating things like that into bringing that into your scope and trying to get everybody to work together in this new realm?
Well, in the particular, the development that Joe mentioned that he's working on right now, we're the home center for that. And what we did together is always with keeping Mike in the loop because he was always trying to keep the umbrella over how we approach it. But then we worked hand in hand with Joe and his team, always talking about what the builder was asking for in the last meeting. For example, another builder we're working with now, he made the point, we've been doing these versions of technology in the 80s, we did them in the 90s, we're doing it again, and tell me why on God's earth it's going to help me sell homes. And we made that the focal point for the next meeting.
So how, excuse me, when you have somebody come into your design center and you're explaining to them what tech options you are showing them. What are you telling them? What are you showing them?
What we will be showing them is, well, the first thing that will happen, again, this is a backwards situation from how home centers traditionally work. It's so much of what Mike was alluding to. We first work with the sales and marketing people. We get the message from them about what their ability to qualify for goods are. We make sure that what is placed in the models is a reflection of that demographic, instead of the builder doing it independently and then simply telling the home center, here it is. So we make sure, as Joe pointed out, that the place where the greatest excitement occurs, which is in the model, then has an extension to the home center where they can talk about the technology, how they're going to, Joe makes a great point, how it's going to give them a sense of safety, not necessarily the technical part about it, or how they can entertain their friends. So again, it's all about lifestyle.
And Mike, when you're trying to get design centers and builders on the same page, are there frustrations there in trying to move that forward? Are you able to get that done as easily as you like? And how are you able to get everybody to embrace it together?
Piece of cake. Well, it's those of you that have heard me here before, because I go back to way back with Tech Home and early days, but the last 4 years, one of the things for me is that our industry is dominated by used home buyers. Not picking on any of you, but over the last few years, I've asked over and over home builders and home builder executives if they would fall, when you look at the studies of new home buyers and how many people want to buy a new home as opposed to a used home, most of our industry is run by used home buyers. And it's a given, because as a supplier coming from that background, all of us suppliers help new home builders, our customers, take a used home that they bought where they wanted and fix it up. So my challenge over the years has been getting builders to understand that they don't actually think like a new home buyer, and what new home buyers want is that turnkey finished home. Whether it's the finishes, whether it's the technology, I don't want to move and fix up my home after the fact. So all of my training programs down through the sell-through with the agents, with the design centers, all the way through that process is to get everybody to think more like the new home buyer. As an industry, we sell 10% of the shopping market of homes, but the statistics show 40 to 53% of the people in the market for a home want a new home. We don't do a good job connecting with them. They're not going to move and fix that home up if they're a new home buyer. They're going to go home, not move, so they eliminate one pain, and then they remodel. So we help Home Depot and Lowe's out, and we don't want to do that. So it's connecting and getting everybody thinking on the same page and realizing that, we need to think more like a new home buyer instead of like real estate investors and people in our industry. That's probably the biggest challenge. But once you acknowledge that, then it gets to be where you do realize there's a niche, there's a place that you can become a new home retailer instead of a builder. And when you do that, you can double and triple the number of homes you sell.
And from a design center perspective, does that sound familiar to you? You're getting people in here, trying to get them early on in the process to identify?
That's an excellent point, Tony. It's yes and no. We encounter some builders who don't want that to happen, thinking that it's because they don't see it as a sales and marketing tool, but rather as a necessary evil. They want the deal done, they want the deposits down, and only then do they want interaction with the home center. We have others who recognize that the buyers just become incredibly excited after seeing the model, started asking a bunch of questions of the salespeople that they neither know nor do they want to be involved in, being bogged down in that part of the transaction. But the fact of the matter is, the home buyer is so excited about that touchpad. They're so excited about, oh my God, look at the surround sound. And they always have, of course, everyone's got the TVs blaring. They want the salesman for that to continue the excitement. And so if the builder brings in the home center early on in the process and they go back and forth about it, then the home center owns it. when the salesperson gets all excited, and let's say it's pre-construction by months, and you want to hold that buyer for months' attention while other developers are going to be putting in competitive product, the way to hold their attention is to keep them engaged in the home center, because it becomes theater of the mind. I can tell you for a fact, and this is just anecdotal, on the development that we're working on with Joe right now and his group, we have 3 other competitively price-pointed developments within a 2.8-mile radius, okay? And I can tell you that one of them dropped out because we were advertising already that this was the most connected smart home of any of them in the area. And it's near a college in the area, so it got millennials, and they dropped out of one of the homes and went on the waiting list of the one that we're working on. And we won't even be dropping a trailer until pretty much January, and we won't have product until about April. So that's very important.
So for builders who aren't maybe quite at that level, what do you do to help move them along and try and get them to that same point?
Shut up and listen. Because what we're finding with the different builders, we're feeling our way through this too. And what we're doing with another developer that we're meeting with, as a matter of fact, after this convention, is we asked them what their concerns were, how they see technology, because so much of it has to do how the builder sees it and their past experience with it, which isn't always so positive. And then how they view the home center's role in helping take the transaction forward and keep the interest going for the buyer. So a lot of times it's a matter of just listening, coming back, and then saying, okay, this is, which we did. This is the laundry list you gave us last time. Let's go through them point by point. Have we addressed it? And then it becomes a process where they own it. And then the excitement is the builders. Then you meet with the sales and marketing people, which in this case we will be doing again after this convention.
I think this might be a good place to transition into the builder. Casey, you're working on a community in Hilton Head. Tell us a little bit about that, the homes that are going into it, just the general scope of that community.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I believe we live in story, and it may be helpful to provide the context of our story. I'm not a tech guy. I believe that the success of any organization, any integration, implementation is about people, getting the right people on the train, and leading you in the direction that you want to go. So with that being said, Brian and I kind of identified, we did a competitive market analysis. We've identified some holes and gaps kind of in our product line, our features, our standard features, and we began to plug the gaps, and of which we began to seek out the qualified individuals to help fill those gaps. So we build in numerous communities, but we've been through a complete rebranding effort with Ashwood Fine Homes. And in regards to this tech integration, kind of the tech packages, we're trying to figure it out. It's interesting. I was just in one of the breakout sessions, and one of the presenters asked, you guys, have y'all fully embraced this? Are you nervous about embracing this? And one of the gentlemen in the group said both. Well, that's kind of where we're at. We're excited, we're nervous, we're not really sure what's going to work, what package is going to work, what package is going to be in higher demand than others. You'll have to invite us back next year so we can give you actual hard data. But anyway, we built in multiple communities in Greater Savannah and Greater Hilton Head Bluffton area. We, as I mentioned before, did a complete overhaul with our plan designs, our standard features. And really, it was really seeking out kind of where the gaps were relative to the competition. And many of the communities that we build in, we're not the only builder in the community. So not only do you have the competition getting to the community, once you decide on the community, you get competition within the community. Yeah. So competition brings the best out in all of us, and so that's kind of where we're at in terms of that's our story and how we came upon this kind of standardizing a tech package that our competition is not standardizing.
Yeah. We were excited to meet Brett at Elon. He came down, you saw the picture, he came down to our showroom. We have a robust showroom, about 5,000 plus square feet. We're able to bring potential buyer in or a buyer after they've signed, show them flooring, carpet, faucets, you name it. We have a great space in there, but what we were missing was the whole tech piece. And so Brett came down, really listened to our needs. It turned out exactly what they put on the slideshow before is exactly what we needed. We needed a standard package that we could offer as a standard in our feature sheet, and then we needed the ability to a la carte or have our salespeople upgrade them to some of these packages. Now, as Casey mentioned, we're in all different communities, demographics, millennials, baby boomers. So to have those packages specified like that and have our agents really listen to what the buyer wants and be able to have them pick a package out was ideal for us.
Now, we'll take a look at some of the packages that you're offering a little more in a couple minutes, but before we get to that, Casey touched on something which I'd love to hear you talk about a little bit more. You mentioned that builders were talking earlier about, are you excited? We're both excited and scared to jump into this new tech world. And I imagine you're going through the same sort of thought process. So how do you get to the point where you're willing to take that step, even though it is such an unknown and can be such a scary place to go?
You know, Brian and I, we did a lot of grappling, if you will, and really we're looking for some unique ways to enhance the experience, to enhance the lifestyle of the products that we're offering and the features that we're offering. So at the end of the day, it came down to really lifestyle and experience. We also build in the high-end custom world under our custom brand. And custom home building, most of the guys that are playing in the communities that we build in, they're all great builders. Every one of them build a great home. So the key differentiator from our perspective is, at the end of the day, you're going to get a great home, but what is the experience? What is the process to end up with that great home? And so where we're really focusing and diving in is how to enhance the experience so that at the end of the day, the client says, hey, I got a great home, and wow, what an experience. Mm-hmm.
So that they'll recommend us to friends.
Let's talk a little bit about those packages and offerings. That this is, a project that is just getting started. So maybe next year, like you mentioned, we can come back and talk about how this is all playing out. But you're offering a baseline package. You have some different personalization packages. What are those, and why did you decide to go in that direction?
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that we are reaching such a broad demographic. Some millennial might be really interested in music, and so they may get the media room package. Safe and Sound, a lot of our homes up in Hilton Head and Bluffton are retirees, and that's something that would appeal to them. So we also, when we started this kind of venture, we wanted to simplify everything that we did because we just didn't want to overload ourselves and overload buyers with just too much information, too many choices. So in a lot where it made sense, a lot of our communities, we have the same feature sheet. And that's gone just a ton in benefit from helping us be able to order right and purchase right, and as you can imagine. So having these packages fit into our overall strategy moving forward.
I think into springboard off of Brian's comments, our showroom also is set up and geared to where you can see, touch, and feel these packages. So you can come in and it's tangible. So I think the showroom is indicative of these various packages, and so the idea is for Brian to then meet with the buyer and to be able to walk them through the packages and to sell them either a package or a la carte various items.
We also had an open house for our showroom, and our integrator, Plan Gourmet, was there, taking each agent that came in. It was an agent open house, and showed them each of the features, and we just got a lot of great feedback from that event.
Now I know you've sold a few pre-sale.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the response from those buyers that you have had at this point in terms of these packages, and what have they opted for, if anything, but what is their response to seeing these as being the options?
Sure. Most of the pre-sales are in kind of our move up, I would say $200,000 to $350,000 range. And so a lot of them, I think, really part of their decision-making process to go with us was that we had that standard connected home feature in place. And, we've been able to upgrade a la carte, not necessarily any of these packages yet, but they may add an extra security camera. They may add the ability to open their garage. They may add the smart thermostat. So we're not quite there yet to be able to move up to the whole package, because obviously it's more of a price point that they're trying to reach. But we're looking forward to future training, both me with Alon and then me with my sales agents, to be able to really upsell everybody that comes in and hit them on an emotional level. Like Casey said, what is it going to mean to their lifestyle to be able to have some of these things in place?
And is that a different approach that you guys have maybe changed since you've started to offer these about, and Mike touched on it before, about personalizing the home, and these buyers want to be able to control these things. Has that sort of changed your perspective and how you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, once again, it's about lifestyle, it's about experience. Once again, a year from now, we'll be able to give you probably very specific hard data. In fact, it was interesting, another gentleman in one of the groups, I think he was from Seattle, he was describing earlier today how he had embraced, that they jumped all in years ago and embraced the technology, and he made some comment like, well, 50% of our clients could care less. And, but the other 50 do care. And so the point that we're trying to do is regardless of whether they embrace it or care, we're going to enhance their lifestyle regardless, okay? And we're going to enhance their lifestyle by giving them the ability, by giving them the infrastructure or brains to add on either now or later, right? As their family matures, as they mature and grow in their home and in their lifestyle.
Yeah, and then from a sales perspective, I think somebody mentioned it before, sometimes a person doesn't know what they want until they see it.
Right.
And so to have it there, they might not have even thought about a music everywhere package, but they see it, hey, I want it. And so that always helps the sales numbers as well.
And the way our integrator is installing this is that they can add these packages. They don't have to decide today. They can get in. They can live in the home. They can live and experience the home and add them at any point in the future.
Now I'll open this up to sort of everybody. How do you get the builder, the manufacturer, the integrator to all work together in being able to implement these sorts of things in a seamless process that makes it easy and makes it enjoyable for everybody? If anybody wants to jump in, Marshall.
Well, we've been going through just that, and I can actually tell you, and this may sound surprising, that's actually been one of the more joyful aspects of all of this. And I didn't think that would be, because we approach technology the same way as most do anything new. One, it's going to usurp revenue, okay, discretionary dollars. Two, I don't know anything about this. I don't know if anyone's going to want this, and it's just going to take a lot of time, okay? But Mike, who made the connections, and then we started getting a little bit of an education, and more, we realized it was hand in glove, and that this was just one aspect of how buyers are getting excited about homes and will more so in the future. So to your point, then what happened is he put us together with Joe, who then put us together with the local integrators. And we had meeting after meeting and conference call after conference call where we worked what the different roles would be. And one of the things that came out was no matter how the home center, no matter what good of a job it can do in exciting the buyer generally about the technology, at the end of the day, the individual integrators know so much more that they need to also be brought into a part of the process, which demands that the home center not feel threatened by that, okay? But it works, actually, and we've been working with their integrators and making arrangements so that when we do presentations with builders, we're doing it all together in the same meetings over and over again. And the builder can see that when the technology part comes to the buyer, that their questions are going to be answered, whether they be very technical or lifestyle, which the home center should be trained well enough to address, and that when there are issues afterwards, to your point, gentlemen, that they're not abandoned, okay, that there will be continue to be service for these upgraded features, that there will be continue to be service if there's any warranty issues, and all of a sudden the builder realizes, my gosh, it's all going to be okay. We realize we're not going to be abandoned on these issues because we're being backed by the integrator. It's actually a better relationship.
If we don't realize that the core of the business is selling homes, if anybody in the process is trying to sell their product to builders without the realization that all of us are in this to help them sell homes, then we lose sight of what's best for all of us. Working together, we don't do it naturally as human beings. We get on our selfish side and we start pulling. But if we can work together, then we can provide a better experience, a better lifestyle with the tech, the relationship with the home for buyers that's going to make all of us have more opportunity. I mentioned the 40 to 50%, 53% that want a new home. The number one reason they all want a new home is personalization. Technology is part of that. It's actually simpler to package up than these guys had embraced personalization already. That's why the big showroom and what you guys were up to. So that's a first when you're kind of answering your question, Tony. As builders, you got to embrace personalization, because I've asked that one here every year too, and I ask it at IBS, PCBC, how many production builders, and you already know what I think about production versus, but how many production builders wish you could build the house and not even put flooring in it and let the buyer buy it and do all that after you move in? Yeah, so you still, unless you resolve that in your brain that that's a conflict, and your home, if you're going to sell more homes, Marshall laughs because one of my phrases is people would rather have their ugly than your pretty. So even if you spec it all out, it's not personal to me. If you give me choices, I'll buy more from you. And we're an industry that sells less of the people that want our product. That's odd. Every industry is trying to grow their market, and we have a bigger market than we sell, and then we sell less dollars to them than they want to spend. Those two things for 38 years have just boggled my mind. So if we all work together, we can actually sell more homes and sell more dollars in those homes rather than fighting each other for dollars. And if we do that on the really high, changes the whole country, because the economy would, we doubled the number of homes we sold. Yeah, I know there's an issue of how we get them built. That's another discussion. But if we do that, it changes everything.
Yeah, I'll also say a big factor in the collaboration and this being a success was just the ability for our integrator to listen to what we wanted, and the customer service and initiative that they again took to Elon, and Elon approached us. They could have easily said, yeah, we'll get around to it. But for that kind of a top-down, we're so busy, we may mention an idea, and that idea goes away the next day if nobody follows up. But they were good to follow up and say, hey, we have a solution for your problem.
We do have a few minutes left, and I wanted to open it up to some questions. If there are any questions out there that like to ask, some great opportunity to be able to ask any questions. I feel like there's going to be some. Yeah, it's a little bright up here, so apologize for throwing my hand in my face, but nobody's got anything. Quiet crowd today. It's not breakfast anymore. I thought people might have woken up by now. Might give them something to excite them again.
I've never been in a room of shy builders.
Maybe we can talk about marketing a little bit, and how we can, effectively market these tech options to help sell
John
more
always
homes?
tells me when I go down this particular road I'm about to share with you that it can be depressing, but it's not. It's a challenge to all of us. So I'm gonna ask you, when you market homes, first of all, if the number one reason people want to buy a new home versus a used home is personalization, why aren't we marketing that we build personalized homes on a schedule? Why aren't we saying we do that? Set the standard, set the expectation that it has to stay on schedule, so they have to participate. That's an expectation for buyers. Otherwise, we couldn't build it at the price we build it at. But if we go down that road, we can market personalization and then get more traffic, get more sales, and have more opportunity, and we can sell earlier in the process. I know the gentleman in California who started the phase release building out in California was before options. And there's a VP of sales and marketing that came from retail, and the builder used to release 30, 40 houses at a time. He goes, this is crazy. We're going to release 5 or 6 at a time. We'll create urgency. But there were no options involved. And so now we step back and we go, maybe now we need to give more lead time. We got people putting deposits on cars. They don't even know what it's going to look like or when they'll get it. And so for some of my builder clients, we've been talking about maybe you should be releasing houses that are going to close 15, 18 months from now and see how many buyers would pay more, because you're going to market it at a higher price. For the chief operating officers of the world, 15 months from now, it's going to sell for more. But I'd pay more for it because I want my personal instead of your pretty. Yeah. So, and I have an advantage. I'm a new home buyer. I would only look at new homes. It's all I would buy. So if you market it to me, then, and these people, all the statistics, whether it's John Burns, whether it's Myers, whether it's Hanley Wood, these stats come from them on the number of people that want them, and then from the National Association of Realtors and this personalization. And my designers I've trained for 20 years the first question they ask is, why'd you buy a new home instead of a used home? And over 80% of the buyers say, because I didn't want to fix up somebody else's mess. Now, we actually ask the buyer that to start, because we have to remind the buyer that's why they bought it, or they'll get sideways, save money, and move in, and then blame you that it doesn't look like the model. That's their fault. They didn't spend the time and the dollars. I'll also say it is a through for the salespeople, and as Brian was talking about training the salespeople, just in California in our market, 73% of new home sales agents, when they're asked, how much should I have to buy a home buyer prospect, how much am I going to need to spend at the design center? 73% of agents say, oh, nothing, our standards are fine. You can do anything you want to after you move in. And as soon as they say that, they lose all credibility that they don't understand me as a new home buyer. So there's an education process, but in Southern California, I just spoke at the BIA Sales and Marketing, the awards banquet. So we had about 100 sales agents, VPs of sales and marketing, that were the award winners. And when I asked them how many of them were new home buyers, they looked around the room and there wasn't one hand. The top salespeople and sales and marketing people in Southern Cal, not one. So we had a good, lively discussion about how much that detaches them from the way we think. So if we can get on the same page, realize that we've got a buyer profile out there that wants to buy more, and then work together to market our homes as, are they new? First of all, if you sell a home and it doesn't have a standard technology package, if it's not connected, it's not a new home. It's an unlived-in old home. So are you building unlived-in old homes, or are you building new homes? Because if I go look at a car and it's got no technology and it has no miles on it, it'll be a 2007, 2008 car. It's an old car. Do you build new home fixer-uppers? Do you build old homes that haven't been lived in, or do you build new homes? Because as a new home buyer, that's what I want. I want a new home with all the bells and whistles. We should be marketing that. And you'd have more business than you know what to do with. And then the problem will be, how do we get them built? It's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have.
Well, to your point, at least in our market, there's a lot of old homes being built.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to figure out is, old homes are being built, old homes are being sold.
Yes.
So what can we do to bring them up to new, and what will the market, what will the market bear, and what will the market demand in terms of this newness.
Yes.
And so that's what we have yet to, and are on the front end of figuring out.
That's the nervous part.
That's right.
For you. Technology in the last 10 years has gotten cheaper, hasn't it? All technology has gotten cheaper, hasn't it? Except the iPhone. It's 3 times more expensive than when it came out. Because I have a relationship with it that if you take it away, I'm going to be disappointed. What's the relationship with your buyers and their house? If you build that relationship, you can charge more for the house.
Mm-hmm. And we all talk about branding, but that's the branding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically on our feature sheet, we adopted brand identity. So we're putting brands on the feature sheet. But more importantly, I think our whole slogan is inspired by you. You know, we know, especially the millennials and even younger, it's kind of a narcissistic, just look at how many selfies are taken. It's really all about them. So if we can make it all about them, a lot of our print promotion and social media promotion has nothing to do with a house. You know, we just did one. We're a preferred builder for one of the main hospitals in town. And my concept was have a cute kid, his shoes are off, he's in a nice, comfortable living area with a couch, and it's all about being comfortable in your home. So I think if we make it all about the buyer, all about you, then we bring in that personalization that you're talking about.
One other thought about, we talked about millennials and the different types of buyers. You know, speaking all the time, we've all been, how many of you have been to sessions on, you know, we don't do a good job with millennials, right? In a marketing funnel, when you put all age groups in and they pop out on the new home side, so in other words, the prospective new home buyers by generation think more alike than they do different. Because if I'm a new home buyer and I'm 60, I still want a lot of what the 28-year-old wants as a millennial. There's some subtle differences, but we're more alike than we are different. The problem is we don't do a bad job with millennials. We do a bad job with new home buyers. We just don't, you can build, can you buy the dirt and build the house and not do this? Absolutely, and you'll make money. But will you maximize the return on that dirt? Nope. You can maximize, you can increase your profit on the dirt if you'll start to retail new homes instead of building old homes that haven't been lived in.
Well, I think with that, we'll wrap things up here. Brian, Casey, Marshall, Mike, thank you very much. Hope we've given you all some things to think about here and the connected home journey from start to finish and some different perspectives here. And thank you so much for taking the time and contributing.